Okay, so I wanted to go through the process that one might go through when getting a permit for doing a prescribed burns. Specifically, I'm talking about a permit from your local air pollution control district. And these are often at the county level or the multi-county level. So I'm not talking about a permit from CAL FIRE. I'm talking about a permit that allows you to really send the smoke into the air, right? And so they obviously regulate that type of thing. And a lot of it is highly variable from district to district, is what I've noticed, like the permitting process that each district has, the different size of a broadcast burn or the different size of piles, the size of the project, which requires a different type of permit varies by district by district. And so it's important to understand your specific district's requirements. What I'm going to do is show you the process for doing a prescribed burn, which we hope to have a video on in El Dorado County. And this is going to be on private land. It's going to be a very small burn on private land at a elevation around 3,000 feet, which is in the mixed evergreen forest type. And so from the El Dorado Air Pollution Control District, it's really nice. They have, in terms of this district, they have an online permitting process. There's also a there's a PDF version of this that you can fill out and send to them, but it's really nice. They do have an online permitting process. And so it just asks for some simple information about the burn. And so permittee name, I'm gonna enter my name here. It asks for an email address. You'll get correspondence when you fill out your email address. And I'm not going to fill this out, but I did earlier today. And so email address, phone number, so that they can contact you if needed, the burn location, physical address. And so in this case, we do have an actual address, like a street address. And so you might not have a physical like street address if you own forest land and it's in a remote area. So it also asks, it says that you can provide a assessor's parcel number. The other thing that's really good in general to have if you're going to be doing burning on your forest land is to know what they call the legal description. And so that's the section, the township, and range. And you can find that out on maps of your area. And it's a basic way of describing the location that's generally understood. That format of a section, township, and range is generally understood by resource managers and by the people who might ask you for the location of the burn. But in this case, we know the street address. In this particular burn, it's going to be in Georgetown, California. And then a mailing address if it's different than the burn location. Again, I filled that out earlier. Okay, so the permittee type, resident versus contractor. In this case, it's not a contractor being hired to do the burn on someone else's property. What this situation is, it's the landowner is conducting the burn. So I'm going to say that it's a resident doing the burning. The distance to nearest neighbor. This is kind of a nice shorthand for what you might have to do for a larger burn plan, a larger burn project, where you really have to plan out very carefully how you're going to avoid an impact from smoke impacts to smoke-sensitive communities. And so this is kind of in that context of, we're trying to just make sure that the burn is not going to negatively impact people. And so distance to nearest neighbor, in this case, it's 200 yards to the nearest neighbor from this particular burn. The type of material to be burned. And so what I'm going to do here is describe the actual, the fuel that I want to consume. And given that this is a winter burn, I don't expect to burn large diameter fuel. And so I can actually just kind of describe this: litter and fine fuel. And because I'm a fire person, I kind of know the lingo to use here. I'm going to say it's primarily fuels in the litter and less than 10-hour diameter classes. and you don't have to use this lingo. What this means is pieces, like pieces of fuel, sticks in other words, that are less than 1 inch in diameter. Okay, and that'll tell them, that'll tell the regulators, the folks at the air district, like what your intent is, what you want to burn. I'm also going to add in a note here that it's expected that we're just going to burn dry material, right? Because this is a broadcast burn. We're only going to be able to really burn the material that's dry. Okay. It asks for size of piles. The assumption here is that you are burning piles. So you might have to explain that it's not a pile that you're burning if you're doing a broadcast burn. In this particular burn, it's a broadcast burn. So there is one pile in the area that I want to burn. But I'm going to generally describe this in terms of the area. It's 0.3 acres of broadcast burn. And the agency should understand what this is. You know, they understand what a broadcast burn is versus a pile burn. The assumption, because so many people do more pile burning than broadcast burning, they really design a lot of these forms just to be relevant for pile burning and not broadcast burning. But that doesn't mean that you can't do a broadcast burn. Okay, so I'm going to describe that this is a 0.3 acre area of broadcast burn with one approximately 4 by 4 foot pile embedded within the area. Okay. Number of piles, you know, this can be 0 piles if it's broadcast burn. I did mention that we had that one 4 by 4 foot pile, and so I'm going to say it's 1 pile. Okay. It asks for the private party burn project type, right? So this is a category of different burnings that occur. In this particular case, it's really forestry management burning. The two choices that I consider were forestry management or residential burning, because this is in what we call the wildland urban interface where this burn is going to be done. But there's no house on this particular property, and so because it mentions residential dwelling specifically on that checkbox where it says residential burning, I'm not going to check that one. Instead, I'm going to check forestry management burning. The key term here is that it's done for silviculture or for forest protection, really. So I'm doing this burn because I want to improve the forest health and I want to reduce fire hazard, right? I want to reduce the severity of fire when a wildfire does occur. And so it's really forestry management burning. Public agency burn project type does not apply. So this is saying that if you are a public agency, like you're a CAL FIRE person and you're setting up a burn project, or your Forest Service, and you're setting up a burn project, that's who that is for. It's not for a private landowner doing their own burning. And so I'm just going to skip that. And then it gives you lots of good, actually, this is good information, conditions for burning. It says that you should burn dry vegetation and what you can and can't do. It's a really good review of, the kind of air quality perspective when it comes to burning and the best management practices for burning. And then you check that you have read and understand all of these things. It has a digital signature page, which is really nice. And then you submit it. So I submitted this form this morning for the burn that we want to do for this video series. And within an hour, I got the burn permit approved. And this is the response that I got. It was sent to my email address. And so this is great. It took me 15 minutes to fill out that form. And then it was within the hour that I got approval. So at least with this El Dorado County Air Pollution Control District, it was a really easy process. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, it is highly variable from district to district. Like this whole process and the approval process, what it is and how long it takes is highly variable. But this was the process for El Dorado County. This is a small burn project. It's 0.3 acres. We could have gone up bigger, 5 acres, even up to 10 acres, and we would still use this process. It's very useful and important to check in with the people at the Air Pollution Control District and see kind of what form they want you to use given the size of your project. Yeah, that's getting a burn permit, and it says to, on this email, the permit is attached to it, and it says to print it out and have it available on site when I do the burn. So a very simple thing to do. So that is getting a burn permit for air quality. This is specifically for emissions. I don't need a CAL FIRE burn permit for this particular burn, which I'll cover in a different video, but this is just with respect to air quality.